Luka's had an unbelievable, record-breaking first two playoff appearances. Donovan Mitchell was the top player on the #1 seeded team in the NBA last year. This video breaks down the production of those two, plus 8 other rising phenoms, and then I'll decide who's the best player at the end. Keep in mind before you comment who should have made it, these players are all 25 years of age or younger. Subscribe if you haven't already, leave a like for the beastly YouTube algorithm, and let's get into this. Luka Doncic has looked like a man amongst boys in his first two playoff appearances. Without a reliable second option next to him, given the inconsistencies from Kristaps, Luka hasn't won a series yet, but he's pushed 2 rounds against the Clippers, much further than they should have gone. In the bubble, he became the 5th player in NBA history to average at least 30 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists for a playoff series. However, Doncic was the first player ever to do so in their postseason debut. He made dropping daggers on Kawhi and PG look easy, and despite getting beat up physically by the Clippers' tough guys, there was no denying Luka's historically great performance. If you saw it live, then you'll go a lifetime without forgetting this game winner, followed by an iconic bang from Mike Breen.
Back to Doncic. Doncic pulls up, three-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good!
Luka followed that up by posting 35, 10, and 9 in this year's playoffs. Given how he set the league on fire early in his career, it's clear we're witnessing an all-time great in the making with the Dallas Mavs' young killer. Debatably the best player, but easily the best slasher mentioned in this video, Donovan Mitchell attacks the paint with elusiveness and elite quickness. While that slashing is beastly for his opponents, scarily, that's not even the Spider's best quality. His ability to stay in the present and knock down daggers when his team needs them the most, that's what makes Mitchell an intriguing superstar right now. The comparisons early on were to Dwayne Wade, who's oddly now a part owner of the Jazz, but based off his playoff production in his first 2 appearances, perhaps Mitchell can eventually surpass Wade's legacy. That's going to be tough given D-Wade's a 3-time champion, but at the same time, Wade only averaged 30 once in his playoff career, something Mitchell's already done twice. So the Jazz have one of the top up-and-comers in basketball with Donovan Mitchell and potentially a generationally special player. Almost overnight, Devin Booker's clout has taken a massive step forward. And yes, part of that is due to his relationship with Kendall Jenner. Good on Devin for embracing his time in the spotlight, but when D-Book steps between the lines, he's all business, and his Kobe-esque production recently gained him a ton of respect. But Booker said himself that he doesn't want to be compared to Kobe, which personally I don't understand. The only statement I could find of Kobe Bryant saying he should never be compared to Michael Jordan is Kobe saying that he'll be better than his airness. If Booker's saying he shouldn't be compared to Kobe, does that mean he thinks he'll be worse than the Black Mamba? Kudos to Booker for being himself, but when he's locked in, the fierce mentality he displays sort of resembles the Black Mamba, so I think he should just embrace the comparisons. After his return to Madison Square Garden in the WWE, Hawks point guard TRAE Young has definitely embraced his role as the villain. Back-to-back seasons of 25 and 9 averages was then followed up by a playoff coming-out party. TRAE steamrolled through the New York Knicks in the first round, posted 3 30-plus point games in a 7-game battle with the #1 seed, and then he showed off his newly patented shimmy in the East Finals. Whether you love him or hate him, we have to accept how rare it is for a player making his playoff debut to lead a team 2 wins from the NBA Finals. The Celtics' 2 superstars go hand in hand. They're both valuable perimeter players on both ends of the floor who've increased their numbers annually over the last few years. If Robert Williams develops this year, Marcus Smart stays consistent and healthy, plus Dennis Schroeder performs, then Boston could get out of the East. The growth of Tatum and Brown could be a problem for top contenders. Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson are one of the most dynamic combos in the game who've continually improved over the past few seasons. Ingram dropped 24, 5, and 5 in year 5 of his career, and Zion dropped a beastly 27, 7, and 4 per night in year 2. Both still need to improve defensively, and on the other end, Ingram needs to improve his timeliness, and Williamson needs to improve his three-pointer. Regardless, fans in the Big Easy get to watch 2 rising phenoms on a nightly basis. Ja Morant's first career postseason saw him average 30 points, 8 assists on 49% shooting from the floor. That points per game is the highest ever from a Grizzly player in a single playoffs. Now Morant has to build off that in his third season and prove to the basketball world that his prolific stretch of games back in May wasn't a fluke. He proved himself as a top 10 point guard. Now the question is, can he make the leap into a top 5 PG? The 24-year-old Jamal Murray tragically tore his ACL midway through this past season. But Murray's bubble outburst, where he put up 26 points per game on 50% shooting and led the Nuggets to the conference finals, solidifies the Blue Arrow as a young superstar. And Jamal was building off that performance before he got hurt, as in 48 games, the Kitchener native was posting career highs across the board, including near 50-40-90 shooting splits. One of just 3 players putting up a 20-11-6 stat line this season, along with Jokic and Antetokounmpo, Domantas Sabonis definitely earned his second All-Star nod this year. Despite not being the NBA's most ridiculous athlete, Sabonis is still an excellent finisher down low, converting 67.9% of his looks near the basket, the 6th best mark among players with at least 250 chances. A lot of that has to do with his great touchdown low and bruising right shoulder. The advanced stats don't love Colin Sexton's impact in 2021, but that doesn't mean we can dismiss his production, as the third-year point guard averaged 24 points, 4 dimes, and 1.2 steals on solid 48, 39, and 81 shooting splits. Sexton's an elite spot-up shooter and a great scorer out of both pick and roll and transition scenarios. Colin's tenacious, super high energy floor general play rubs off on his teammates, which makes him the perfect franchise player for Cleveland. SHAI Gilgeous-Alexander is one of the savviest shot creators in the NBA, and he just turned 23 years old. Set to begin his 4th pro season, OKC just gave SGA a well-deserved 5-year, $172 million max rookie contract extension. The annual scoring improvement throughout his first 3 campaigns has already made SHAI one of the better bucket getters in basketball, as he put up 24 points per night last season. Speaking of progression, that's exactly what Miami Heat center Bam Adebayo's done over his first 3 years. After being the second option during Miami's run to the finals, Bam was quietly a 19-point scorer last year. He's one of the more versatile defensive bigs in the league. Last but not least, before deciding the best player, I couldn't forget De'Aaron Fox, who ranked number 10 on my point guard ranking last Friday. Some of you in the comments were saying he should have been higher, and that's fair considering his all-star 25 and 7 numbers. Fox is a great two-way player. He deserved to make an all-star team last year. The top 4 players on this list, in my opinion, are Donovan Mitchell, Luka Doncic, Devin Booker, and Trae Young, which isn't in order, by the way. While Mitchell's two-way impact and Booker's clutch scoring are impressive, if I had a gun to my head and had to choose the best player, I'm going with Doncic. Despite not winning a round, Luka has less talent around him than Mitchell and has been just a tad bit better than Mitchell in the playoffs. But let me know your take in the comments section. Hope you have a great day. D-Flow signing off.